Appreciating the role of culture in people's lives can reduce stereotypes and promote understanding and respect of others. Listen now as Dr. David Matsumoto explains.
One of the reasons why cultural psychology is so fun and so important is because it has implications to all areas of psychology and all of areas of human functioning. Whether you go out and you're in the world of business or in the health profession or a teacher or a mom or a dad or a son or a daughter or anything in the world, you can always use the information that psychology, and more specifically cultural psychology, has brought to you. The reason is because we're all cultural animals. We may study cultural psychology because we think that we're going to understand some other exotic culture. But in reality, we all live in a culture. And studying another culture means that we come to understand our own culture that much better. The world is very porous, and it means that we come into contact with many people from many different cultures, much more today than ever before. When the first commercial jet went from the West Coast to Hawaii, I understand that it took somewhere around 21 and a half hours. Today we make that trip in about 4 hours. Today we go from San Francisco to Tokyo in 10 and a half hours. But the engine technology to get from San Francisco to Tokyo exists today to make that trip in 1 hour. Someday it'll be 1 hour. 100 years ago, we could never have thought to have gone to Tokyo in 10 and a half hours, let alone 1 hour. While coming into contact with people from different cultures is a great opportunity, it also presents great challenges to us. And oftentimes when cultures merge together, whether they're two individuals or two different groups, conflicts can occur. So these changes in our society bring about them great challenges for us today. The potential for intercultural conflict is even exacerbated by things like ethnocentrism, stereotypes, and prejudice. It's not easy to get rid of ethnocentrism, stereotypes, and prejudice. In fact, there's good reason to believe, and actually research to back up, the suggestion that ethnocentrism, stereotypes, and prejudice are universal, and they're a normal part of our human lives. Even though these may be universal processes, we need to find ways in which they don't control the way we deal with people from different cultures. Now, how do we do that? You have the information, and now you're armed with a lot more skills and knowledge and abilities that will allow you to release the hold of ethnocentrism and stereotypes and prejudice when you engage with those differences. What's really important when we engage in differences is to know that maybe we just shouldn't react to those differences. Maybe we need to take time and pause and think about what those differences may mean and understand the source and the meaning and sometimes the importance of those differences from the other person's perspective. If we try to understand the source of the differences, if we understand differences in different cultures and different people in terms of what it means to them and why it may exist in the first place, and even appreciate what it might mean for those individuals, then we come to a better understanding of those cultures. And I think it's one of the first things we do when we start to show our respect for other cultures. If you use the information constructively, you can be out there voyaging in the world, embracing differences, engaging with the differences, and trying to learn from those differences. If you choose not to use the information, you'd be limited to understanding the world only from your point of view. And when you engage with differences, it's really easy at that point to then vindicate that worldview instead of learning something new. Hopefully what we would do when we learn about culture and psychology is to use the information and help that empower you to make better choices in how we can deal with diversity.